Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to do some bed rant. Um, I kind of want to go in two directions with this rant. Um, First direction is I don't know what's going on with the Matterator. He doesn't text me hardly, so maybe that's code for he's cool and screw me and there never was a studio and blah blah blah. Or maybe he's just busy or sick or can't get to me or whatever. But I don't know. Either way, how would I know? But if there's a studio, that's cool. If I'm still going to record there, that's cool. Um, if not, well, I'm Shirtless Guy first, and I stick to what I believe in, which is rock and roll and peace, love, and peace and love. That's not dependent on one person liking me or even having a studio. That's something that's in here. No one can take that from me. So if the matter is just being a dick to me, or if he just can't get back to me, either way, I still believe in rock and roll, and I still believe in myself, and I'm still doing my YouTube channel, and I believe in peace, love, and rock and roll. It's just that's who I am. I can't control someone else. I can't control anyone else, especially since I have no family. I have no family that have to love me, and I have to love them. I don't have that. So anybody's has the option of hating me, and all I can do is what I believe in. And so, Matterator, hope everything's okay. If not, well, have a good life. I don't know. I'm not good at reading things like that. And if I have no information, I don't know how to read that. If he doesn't text me and nothing's going on there, I can only say that I don't know, and here's the possibilities. And no matter what, I'm still doing my YouTube channel, and I'm still Shirtless Guy, and I believe in peace, love, rock and roll. That's not because one person has a studio for me or whatever. That's because of what's in here. So I just wanted to say that. And I did say it, so I guess I did what I wanted. And then I also want to disclose a little more about myself as a kid. Some of the heartache I had that I just haven't talked about much in detail. I'd like to discuss some more of it than I have in the past. I was a good-looking kid, but I wasn't cool. I was straight A. I had got straight A's in school. That's a rhyme, by the way. And that wasn't cool in the 80s. They laughed at you if you did that. And I was a genius, so they laughed at me even more than the next guy, And that hurt, but it didn't. I didn't give up my integrity as a student just to sidestep hate and persecution from my peers. This just wasn't how it was made. Because then where does it end? I jump off a bridge for them. I kill myself for them. That's not me. I do what I believe in first, and let other people do what they want. And if that includes hating me and picking on me, well, so be it. I remember one time in 8th grade, I got on the bus, and some cool kid from the back of the bus yelled out, "Did you do your homework, study boy?" And the whole bus just cracked up at me. And I just sat in the second to front row on the end or something, where the only place I could sit, where I was, where the nerdiest person on the bus could still find a seat. It's lucky I didn't just have to stand up, And then we had this stupid church I had to go to. It's called Pomona First Church of the Nazarene. We didn't live in Pomona. Pomona was kind of a scum area. I don't know why we went there, but then again, it wasn't my decision to go to church. My dad made me go. But he never went. He just made me go. And if I didn't go, he would beat me. But if my mom knew that, so sometimes she'd make me chase her down the street with the door open and the car moving, because she knew she had leverage over me, because if she left me behind, Dad would hit me. And so sure enough, I got good at running into moving cars with the door open. Pretty good at it. and then slept on the way to church and school by my mom, backhanded. I always sat in the front so she could backhand me right and left. Whatever. It felt like a fly in the room compared to my dad. My dad was more like a wasp. My mom was a fly, so didn't really care if she hit me. It's kind of, oh, at least it's not dad. But anyway, the reason I mentioned church, one reason at least, we had this summer. Every summer we went to this summer camp. We had this summer camp thing where we'd go camping and I don't know what they called it, Idlewild, Sequoia, Kings Canyon. I don't know that I didn't record that in my brain, but it was some camping area where they have big trees and all that. And it would be summer camps in the summer, you know. Every summer they had it at the church. And just some of the drama that went on there. I was friends, my dad had a Navy friend named Al Newman, and his kids were friends with me. And that included Lori Ann Newman, who actually liked me from 4th grade onward to end of high school. Even in college, she still might have had liked me a little. Leon Newman. No, I don't know the middle names. Ron Newman and John Newman. Newman is Newman, like on the show. Newman, Seinfeld. But Ron was cool. Ron was a cool kid, and he outweighed me by about 40 pounds. But we'd still wrestle, and I could go toe to toe with him because I was quicker than him and more mobile than him. And I was strong for my size. And even though he was 40 pounds heavier than me, we'd go out in the front yard and wrestle. We'd get each other. We'd beat each other up. We'd be about even. Shake hands afterwards. Nice fight, Ron. I mean, you could do that in the 80s. That's what you did. If you wanted to be friends with someone, beat the crap out of each other, and then you're friends afterward. It's just sometimes there's no way through that door other than that. But we were friends already. We didn't really take it to heart. We just went out there and wrestled to see who could get who. I was tough, but he's 40 pounds heavier than me, so it worked out. Kind of even Steven, you know. But he was cool. He had the gift of gab, you know. He had the cool. He was cool. So one summer he actually got to come. He was Catholic. The Newmans were Catholic, but one summer he got to go to my church's summer camp. So Ron came as my friend, LOL, supposedly. But Ron was so cool. You know, Ron was just like the socialite of the group. He would be in the back of the bus making out with all the girls around him, having them all laugh at his jokes and everything. Well, I'm just sitting up in front going, okay, Ron, we get it. You're great. Then we'd get to camp, and then he'd find about an entourage, about 10, 12 dudes that he was kind of leading around, and he'd say, I'll see you, Jimmy. I'll talk to you later. Well, he went off with like 10 dudes that he kind of had they were all in a group that he would be the leader of. Like he had new friends, you know, so there was that, right? So whatever. Guys will be guys, whatever. Then they had this thing called the Moonlight Hike. It was like you went on a date and they'd go on a walk like at midnight. Maybe it's called the Midnight Hike. It might have been called the Midnight Hike, moonlight, something like that. They'd go on maybe the walk was at 8:00, not midnight. I don't know. It was at night. They'd have this walk where everybody would get a date. You'd get a girl, or you'd get everybody would all week. They'd wonder who's got who. You know, I asked this girl out, and no, I asked that girl. Let's fight about it. Or no, this girl likes me. This girl doesn't. Oh, this girl doesn't like me. This girl does. And everybody would supposedly race to get a date for this moonlight hike. And I was such a nerd. You guys get that, right? NERD, like such a just socially awkward person that I never got a date. I never got a girl to go with me ever, the whole time I ever went to summer camp. But I would be embarrassed about that while the hike was going on. I would sneak back to my cabin and just hide in my bunk bed, whatever they call it. And just so I wouldn't get noticed. Nobody would notice me all alone during the moonlight hike. I didn't want to get noticed, so everyone would say, "Hey, Jimmy was all alone, didn't have a date." So rather than face that, as well as facing not having a date itself, I would hide back go meth in the cabin and hide during the moonlight. I could hear the hike going on, so I knew how long to hide. Sneak in, wait till everyone was done, and sneak out so no one saw me in there. So I hid it. I hid every year just so no one would see me alone. No one caught me. No one ever saw that I never had a date. No one put that together. But I never did. I never got any girl to go out with me, to go hiking. That'd be my date. And of the whole time we ever camped, there was only one girl that was cool to me one time. And we were at they had this amphitheaters where they would give talks about God and stuff, or maybe just skits, funny stuff. Or, and the ones about God, they'd sing songs about God and have people come down and accept Jesus and all this nonsense. And I just sat there. You had to be at a certain time in a certain place sometimes. You couldn't just wander around the camp and do whatever you wanted all the time. So I'd be in one of these, with the God talk going on. And this one girl was sitting to my left. She said, "Hi, I'm Angel. Nice to meet you." And she was pretty, popular. Her name was Angel. And she gave me the time of day that moment. That's the only girl that ever, during all the summer camps I ever went to, the only girl that ever gave me the time of day, and that was who it was and what happened. And I just thought it was so cool that she said that to me. And I still remember her to this day. Her name was Angel. She was really cool, really good looking, and popular, the whole deal. And she gave me the time of day, sitting right by me. I thought that was cool. Other than that, nada. And then I had friends growing up around where I lived. Of course, I had other kids that lived around me. And here's the story. There was this cool kid named Paul. I don't know his last name. I don't want to know. He had a cool car. Black car, drove it like really fast. This guy could go down, he would go 120 miles an hour down the road like it was nothing, man. It was the wild days in the 80s. And I was at his house one time, at Paul's house, and he had a hot girlfriend, hot girlfriend. And the girlfriend was there one time when I was there, and she didn't know who I was. And she pointed to me, and right in front of Paul's standing right there. She pointed at me and goes, "I like him," pointing at me. And Paul had to do a double take, first of all, because his hot girlfriend liked me, not him. And Paul had to correct her because, first of all, aren't you my girlfriend? And second of all, do you know who he is? He's like the nerdiest, dorkiest, geekiest kid in the whole world. So he straightened her out like that. Like, first of all, do you know who he is? What a nerdo this guy is. And first of all, second of all, you're my girl, so what's it going to be? And she buckled under the pressure, of course, and never saw her again. But I was a cute kid, but I was also a nerdy kid, and also it wasn't cool to be a nerd. And also, if you were a cool kid and you had a girlfriend, that girl would have to stay with you over peer pressure. They couldn't just go, "Well, screw you, Paul, I'm going out with Jimmy." She couldn't do that. But she liked me. She pointed me out, and he was standing right there. She said, "I like him," pointing at me. Whatever. And then there was these, like I've said before, the first day of school, when we upgraded and moved to the new area, when I was in 8th grade, and this kid named Chris pushed me and laughed to his friends, and pushed me and laughed to his friends. While I was sitting on a wall, so he could have pushed me backward over the wall. He pushed me hard enough, and I didn't care. I just let him go for it. Later, I tutored him for $3 an hour in high school, and just treat him like everybody else. I've told you the story before, that's why I'm going through it really fast. I tutored him for $3 an hour in math a couple of years later in high school. I got paid by my high school to tutor other kids in math for $3 an hour, which wasn't bad money in the 80s. And he was one of my first students, and he looked at me like, "Are you going to put me through the shit?" And I looked at him, no, this is, what's your thing? What do you just do this math? And he looked at me like, you're not going to put me through it? And I looked at him like, no, it's okay. Forget it. Whatever. Who cares? I think he was like startled with my not holding a grudge and not getting him back for what he had, for pushing me. But anyway, and then there was these two tough kids, really tough, I mean, tough kids named Eddie Davidson and Robert. And they would always go to the front of the bus line, even though they were like the last people to get there. And they were the toughest kids in the block, and they would just go right to the front of the bus line. But one day I was walking home, and I was new to the area and didn't really know where I was that much. And Eddie Davidson, one of the, came up to me and he goes, "Hey dude, are you all right? You want me to help you make sure you get home okay?" Like he did. I was such a non-threat to him. He didn't put his fist thing in me. He just treated me like nice. I wasn't even on his level, so why not? And so it was cool to me. And then one day I was in college, Harvey Mudd College, and I was home either for a break or for just to take a break, maybe a weekend. I was sometimes to come home for a couple hours on the weekends to watch a movie, just to take my mind off of Harvey Mudd. Maybe I'd watch Footloose or something, 1984 with what's the guy's name? Lori Singer was the girl, and Kevin Bacon. But anyway, and John Lithgow played the pastor. Eddie comes up to my house with this new truck, big truck, real expensive truck, knocks on my door and goes, "Hey, Jimmy, I hear you're the best guitarist in town. You want to be in a band, want to start a band up. I guess got a new drum set." So I said, "Sure." So he came to me to jam. So he would pick me up. He would pick me up every Saturday, go to his house. He'd pick me up at Harvey Mudd with this cool truck, take me with my guitar to his house with his like $1,000 drum set, which that was money in the 80s. And we jammed out. We tried to rock and tried to write songs and stuff. I never went anywhere because I was still at Harvey Mudd, and I had to put that first. Harvey Mudd had to precede and any jamming we were going to do, but it was fun. We wrote some cool songs. It was mostly originals we were trying to do. He gave me a couple tapes. He gave me Rat and Dokken. Said, "Try these." They were way over my pay grade at the time. I mean, Dokken and Rat, but it helped me. Like, it wasn't so far above my pay grade, it didn't help me, but these guys are great. He gave me Dokken, Tooth and Nail, Dokken, and Rat, Out of the Cellar, something like that. And I'd never even heard of Rat or Dokken, and it was cool that he introduced me to Rat and Dokken. George Lynch, Warren DeMartini, and to get ideas on our own songs. And we did some of our own material. It was cool. They were always trying to get me to lighten up and relax. Have a give a shit attitude, meaning don't give a shit. Just relax, Jimmy. It's just you take life too seriously. You always tell it, because his family were very liberal and loose and fun-loving and free-spirited compared to mine. And they were always telling me to just loosen up, lighten up, don't take life too seriously, and just chill. And I could kind of do that when I was at their house, actually, because I was in their house, and I wasn't at Harvey Mudd. I wasn't at my house. It kind of helped me. I kind of liked that. I kind of could do that while I was there. But then it's back to the, back to Harvey Mudd, back to my world, and then I would stop doing that and didn't take it with me. Didn't really hit me hard enough to, let me have that attitude in general, just when I was there. But it was nice having them as friends. His mom was cool. I don't think his dad, I don't know if his dad was there, if he was there and cool. He was, I don't really remember if his dad was there, or if he was there, he was cool, but I don't remember if he was there. It might have been just his mom. I don't really remember. We jammed out. It was cool. And is that all I want to say? Anyway, love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.